Did you ever just want to look at somebody's portfolio to see what stocks they're carrying and how much of each one? Well, if you're interested in seeing my portfolio, stay tuned. Hey guys, Kevin Burgess back again with another video. And today, what I want to share with you is my portfolio. And the purpose for this is to be transparent. I want to show you everything in my portfolio and what I hold and sometimes what I don't hold. And I share this not so that you will mimic or copy what I do, but I share it so that you can see what someone else is doing. Sometimes it's easier to learn that way, and maybe it'll give you some ideas. Obviously, anything that you do in your portfolio, you want to do your own due diligence and put your portfolio together based on your convictions, not mine. But I share this because sometimes it's good to see what somebody else is doing. So it should be an interesting video. If you don't know who I am, my name's Kevin Burgess. I am recently retired about 2 years ago. So most of my career was wrapped around accounting and financial reporting. I was responsible for SEC reporting at one time, and ultimately was responsible for risk and internal audit. And I also spent some time as the chairman of a committee that was responsible for investing $14 billion. So the reason I share that with you is because I want you to understand my experience and where I'm coming from. Most importantly, though, I've seen a lot of things, and I have chosen dividend growth investing as my investing strategy of choice. Now, this week we are actually at the beach, but I didn't want that to deter me from putting a video together for you. Today's video is probably not going to be as long as normal. I want to share with you the portfolio, and then I'm going to enjoy some sunshine and sand. So, with that, let's get started. So I like to track my portfolio using Simply Safe Dividends. It is a way that I can have multiple accounts. You can see I've got an account for growth, income, a snowball account, ETFs, and a Roth IRA. It's a way that I can actually put that all together, and it will combine all of my holdings together for me. I don't see individual accounts. I see one portfolio. I find that to be extremely helpful. Looks like I have the wrong one pulled up here. So my portfolio is around 1.22 million. Annual income is about $34,000. And I'll walk through the income here a bit, but I wanted to show you my holdings here. I have 44 holdings in my portfolio. I'll talk to you a little bit about some thoughts I'm having about reducing that moving forward. But let's walk through these maybe in descending order. We'll spend more time at the with the ones that are weightier in my portfolio. So you can see that I have VU, which is Vanguard's S&P 500 ETF. I put about 30% of the portfolio into VU, and it basically is the catalyst for growth in the long term for me. So it's important to remember that just because I'm retired does not mean that I need to fix all of the growth in my portfolio. Fix meaning to have no growth. I want to have both growth and income. As I go through my life here, the inflation is going to continue to cause costs to go up. My dividend portfolio, being in both dividend growth as well as income, is going to help me in the future as these costs rise. So therefore, my portfolio and my income will rise as well using dividend stocks. Okay, next on the list is Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin is my largest individual holding, and it is for 5.2% of the portfolio. I'm up about 35.6% on Lockheed Martin. Also, my second position is the second largest position is Cummins, which is ticker symbol CMI. It's 4.6% of my portfolio. I'm up about 11% on it. I do still believe it to be undervalued at this point. However, if the price continues to drop, maybe down around the 210 range, I'm likely to pick up some additional shares of Cummins. My third largest stock in my portfolio is Johnson& Johnson. I've been buying some Johnson and Johnson here of late. I do plan for Johnson and Johnson to be around 5% of my portfolio. I've still got about a half percent or so to go, which is probably another 30 shares. So I will look to add some Johnson and Johnson here in the next couple of weeks. Now, the next one, which is number one, two, three, four, the fourth largest stock in my portfolio, is Stanley Black& and Decker, ticker symbol SWK. You can see that it is 4.4% of my portfolio. I am down on Stanley Black& and Decker by 29%. You can see that my two thorns are Stanley Black& and Decker and Whirlpool. You see Whirlpool here is number 6 in the portfolio. It is also down 29%. So both of these I got into a little early, but I do believe in their future, and I may add a little bit to these over time, but I won't be adding. I will not be getting them above 5% of the portfolio. So the fifth largest stock in my portfolio is Microsoft. I really am glad I have Microsoft in the portfolio. It is 4.1%. I am up 11.2% on it. So then let's move on then to number 7, which is Texas Instruments. I'm at 4.2% on them. It is 3.7% of the portfolio. T. Rowe Price is 3.6% of the portfolio. I'm down just a little bit on it, 3.4%. My next one is IBM. IBM is a income stock for me. I own about 300 shares of that. I'm down about 1% on those at the moment, but it, as you can tell, is a higher yielding stock, around a little over 5%. Pinnacle West Capital Corporation, 2.8%. I think there's some good value here long term, so I'm holding on to that. And I'm having it as an income stock because, as you can see, my yield on cost is almost 5%. But it is also, I believe, going to grow in share price. Next is Air Products. Air Products has about 2.4% of the portfolio. I'm up about 8% on that. So we'll kind of just scroll through the rest of these. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I will scroll through this, and you can stop the video if you want to see what these are. So I'll just go through to the end, and then what I'll do is I will go back and I will tell you which stocks I am planning to add more to the portfolio so that I can get them to a reasonable level and a level that matches my conviction for them. So let's go back and do that here. I'm going to talk to you about which stocks I'm planning to add more of. I'm not planning to add more Lockheed Martin, maybe a bit more of Cummins. I am planning to add a bit more of Johnson and Johnson. I would love to add some more Microsoft, but it is a little bit pricey for me at the moment. But if it were to drop, I would pick up some more shares of Microsoft. I may pick up some Stanley and Whirlpool if things continue to degrade there. Texas Instruments, I would always love to pick up a few shares of that. I believe it's a little bit overvalued at the moment. Now, T. Rowe Price, I would love to pick up some more shares of that. Not expecting to pick up more IBM or Pinnacle West or Air Products. Not expecting to pick up any more Aflac or Chevron, EOG Resources, or Atmos Energy. Atmos Energy is kind of interesting because I'm up 31% on it. It really shot up, and I believe it is overvalued at the moment. I'm not planning to add General Dynamics. I am planning to add Parker Hannifin. I want to get that up above 1.4%. I just started adding to that position recently. I'm not planning to add to Pepsi or Hess Midstream. I would like to add some more to Medtronic if it were to take a dip. I would like to add more Altria Group into my portfolio, at least from the income perspective. And I would also like to add more WEC. Now, as you can see here, I've got several stocks that are less than 1% of my portfolio. So I've got WEC, Maine, Digital Realty Trust, Raymond James Financial. That's one that I actually have started a position on the last week or two. Uh, Essex Property Trust, Kilroy Realty, Realty Income, Fidelity National Financial, Robert Half, Apple, Franklin Resources, National Storage, NNN REIT, SCHD, F&G Annuities and Life, Cisco, Google, Alphabet, and then Starbucks. So that's almost 20 stocks that I have that are less than 1% of the portfolio. So what I'm planning to do is to look at those 20 stocks and determine if I want to build those positions or if I'm going to leave them alone or get rid of them. Because with them being such a small part of the portfolio, any movement that they have one way or the other really doesn't drive the needle for me. So I'm looking to myself, I'm looking internally, and I'm asking myself, do I have conviction in those stocks that are a really small part of my portfolio? And if not, maybe it's time to move those along and shift that money into some other stocks that I do have bigger conviction in. So I'll put together a video in the future that kind of wrestles with that, and I'll show you what I do at that particular point in time. Okay, before we leave today, let's take a look at our income calendar over the next 30 days. Looking forward to this Friday, which is Friday, May the 26th. I'm going to get a whopping $1.74 from Starbucks. It is such a small percentage of my portfolio. You can see here I only have 3.291 shares. So that's going to be one of the stocks I need to determine if I'm going to continue forward with or not. June 1st, it's going to be a check for a little over $1,000 on June 1st. I'm getting payments from Aflac, Cummins, WEC Energy, and Pinnacle West. And you can see the individual amounts on that. So that's going to be a nice payday on June the 1st. June the 2nd, then Parker Hannifin is going to follow up with another $74. June the 5th, Atmos Energy at $153. And then look at Johnson & Johnson coming in at $395.44 on June the 6th. That would be D-Day. And June 8th, Microsoft at $104.89. Then another pretty big day on the 12th. We got $754.70 coming from Chevron and IBM. And then we have another big day on the 15th with Robert Half, Whirlpool, Prudential. Whirlpool, I have that in two different accounts, so you add those together. Then Main Street Capital as well as Realty Income. So all of those added together is another $900. So let's look at the month of June. You can see here that the month of June is expecting to be $5,100 in dividends for the month. So I'm excited about those dividends for the month of June. It's going to be really exciting to have those dollars, those sweet dividends come and rest in my account. Looking forward to that. Some of those will get reinvested. Some of those may just go to cash because, I got to pay for this beach trip somehow. So before I wrap up, I want to ask you a question. What should I do with these stocks that are less than 1% of my portfolio? Should I just leave them alone? Or should I do something with those, maybe moving some of that into more conviction stocks that I have? I want to hear your thoughts on that as I begin to really think about this. One of the convictions that I have is that the more I handle my portfolio, the smaller it gets. So I don't want to just move money around to move money around. I want it to have purpose and meaning, and I want to be very thoughtful about the moves that I make. So want to hear your thoughts on these particular stocks that are less than 1% of the portfolio. And with that, I'm going to enjoy the beach, and you guys have a great week, and I will see you on the next one.